agents, and welcome to the 16th episode, the very best episode of the One Bite at a Time show. This is where we take the most relevant information, we research it for you, and we give it to you agents one bite at a time.
Is that one bite at a time?
Yes, one.
One bite at a time.
Don't get crazy, just one.
All right. So welcome again, and we want to talk about the accessory dwelling unit today, the ADU. Actually, I used to call it the accessory drinking unit, the man cave.
Yeah, that's good. So for this episode, we're actually not just talking about ADUs, but we're talking about using ADUs to qualify for income. And in the past, when you were purchasing a primary residence that had an ADU on it, you were not allowed to use future rental income on that additional unit for qualifying. But as of recent, that has changed. Freddie Mac has changed their guidelines, and we're really hoping that Fannie Mae does the same. So here are their top 5 things you need to know about earning income on an additional dwelling unit.
So number 1, the accessory dwelling unit can be used for rental income to qualify for the loan. In a purchase situation, it'll be done just like it was a secondary unit in a duplex. You'll be able to use 75% of the rental income that the appraiser says in their rent survey that you can get for that unit in the community you live in. So there'll be an appraisal, the rent survey will tell us how much it is, and we can then use 75% of that income for you to qualify. If it's a refinance and you're trying to qualify for the ADU income, rental income, you'll actually be using actual rents if you have a history of it on your tax returns, or again, 75% of the rent that you should be able to get according to the rental survey. You'll need a lease agreement during a refinance.
Number 2, to piggyback off of number 1, the income on the ADU cannot be more than 30% of the qualifying buyer's income. So even though the ADU cannot be a house hack, it can make all the difference in qualifying the buyer for that slightly higher loan amount just because they have that additional unit on the property.
And number 3, an accessory dwelling unit has to have its own kitchen, its own bathroom, and its own entryway. It can be connected to the house or it can be separate from the house, but it has to have its own kitchen, its own bathroom, and its own entryway.
Number 4, the zoning for the ADU must be allowed and permitted. So you're always going to want to check with your title officer with regards to the zoning of the property. You want to check maybe with the city, the HOA. It has to be allowed, and there has to be comps in the area to be able to use income on an ADU.
Number 5, if the buyer or the borrower does not have a history of being a landlord, they're going to have to take a landlord educational course in order to be able to use the income from the ADU. Also, if you have a listing that has an ADU, you want to make sure that your buyer knows you have a lender that can do
That's us, guys. Where's the lender?
That you have a lender that can use the income for qualification purposes.
And one of the last things we wanted to mention is that this year, CalHFA released a grant program for building ADUs. It's providing $40,000 to families to build an additional dwelling unit on their property. This may be a great incentive for someone who's purchasing a property, and maybe that home has everything except that ADU. You'll just want to make sure that, of course, it's zoned, it can be permitted, and get them over to us so we can make sure that they qualify for the grant. It'd be a great way for them to just purchase the home and build that ADU after.
That's the accessory drinking unit program. And did I say drinking again?
You did say drinking
dwelling unit program. It's all new. There's lots of new things, so you need to understand these things, and that's why we bring these things to you in small little bites so you can get them and understand them. So I hope we see you next week when we do the 17th episode of the One Bite at a Time show. See you later.